3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by mycomputercareer.edu. Training for a better life. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Got a lot of stuff to get into. It is here. It is here. This is it right here, baby. This is what I've been waiting for. The start of the NBA season. I'm in L.A. for a reason. I'll be damned if I was going to be in New York for a reason. It's not like I got the Knicks to hope for, and Kevin Durant ain't healthy yet. So I'm sorry. Forgive me if I'm not overly excited about being in New York. L.A. is the place to be. La La, palm trees, Rodeo, Venice Beach, Melrose Place. And oh, by the way, as a side, the Staples Center, home of the Los Angeles Clippers and, of course, the Los Angeles Lakers. The first time in the history of the NBA that one single arena, the Staples Center, will host a title contender all 82 nights of the regular season. Normally, for those of you who may not know any better, there's 41 home games, there's 41 road games. So if you have a team playing in an arena, there's 41 nights a year that they're not there. In this case, the Clippers and the Lakers, both title contenders, arguably the top two contenders in all of basketball, both play at the Staples Center 41 nights a year. That would be 82 games, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what you have. Never before in NBA history has that been the case. Los Angeles, California is the hub of the basketball world. I'll get into that a little bit later. And, of course, my boy Champ, who, he always calls in. You know, the man that invented basketball? The man that invented basketball, that has forgotten more basketball that James Naismith himself can remember. I mean, this guy, he's my boy, though. He in the house. He ain't going to just call in. He going to be sitting right next to me. I don't know if I'm going to even put him on camera, but you will hear from him. You will hear from him. I'm going to treat him like he's a guest. I'm not going to treat him like a caller. I'm going to treat him like he's a guest, okay? Which means that if I think he's a bit rotund, need to be in the gym a little bit more, I'm going to say so. I'm going to say so. That's what I can do. I can do it like that. You want to show up in the studio with me, you never know what I'm going to say. Never know what I'm going to highlight or call out, all right? By the way, his first name is Ernest. I couldn't pass that up. I had to get on him about that. But anyway, let me get to a more serious matter. First things first. Ladies and gentlemen, in New York City right now, the depression has already kicked in. Believe it or not, it's not because of the New York Knicks. It's because of the woeful, pathetic, embarrassing franchise that is the New York Jets. Losers 33-0 to the reigning defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots last night at MetLife Stadium. I mean, what an atrocity. And I got to tell you that my sympathy, my empathy goes out to Sam Darnold. He's a second-year quarterback. We know that he just got back from suffering from mononucleosis for a few weeks. Showed up against the Cowboys, handled his business against them, but then went up against a real coach in Bill Belichick, who was prepared for him, and this boy was so bad last night. I mean, I think it was like for 11 for 32 passes, only 86 yards, 4 interceptions. It was just an atrocity. It's one of the worst performances you'll ever witness from a quarterback in NFL history. It was that bad. And ladies and gentlemen, nobody's sitting here holding that kid accountable. Even though he kept throwing off his back foot entirely too much and making the kind of mistakes that normally you shouldn't make at the quarterback spot without question. But when you're going up against Bill Belichick and you're a second-year quarterback and you're going up against Bill Belichick without the services of a great coach to help you out, what do you think's going to happen to you? That's what happened to Sam Darnold last night. Sam Darnold didn't have a coach. That's what happened. So we can slice it any way we want to. I told y'all about that damn Adam Gase showing up to his introductory press conference for the New York Jets looking high. That's right, I said it. You saw his eyes. You saw how he looked. And for those of you watching me on ESPN News right now, you know this. You saw how high he looked. I'm telling you right now, if there was ever a coach that needed to be tested, it was him that day. I ain't saying he was high. I don't know, but he looked it. I'm entitled to say what he looked like. since he's been coaching these New York Jets, I understand that their quarterback goes down. I understand that their backup quarterback went down at some point this season. But damn, do you have to look so completely moribund? I told you. See, this is the problem with Mr. Christopher Johnson and the New York Jets. You had no business hiring the man in the first place. Now, maybe he might end up being a good coach, but I'm telling y'all this. I'm about the process. And see, that's where me and my boy Champ vibe with that. It's not about the results. It's about the process. In other words, with somebody else that did such an average job in Miami, had an opportunity to be the head coach in the same division in the National Football League for the New York Jets, Adam Gase, I'm not making an argument that he'll never be able to coach. I'm making the argument that he's not that damn good right now. He certainly didn't deserve to be the head coach of the New York Jets right now. The New York Jets made the wrong decision by hiring him to be the coach right now, and he's been proving it the first 6 games of this season. That's what I'm saying. You take over the Miami job in 2016, you go 10-6. Then you go 6-10. Then you go 7-9. With Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback. Not only did you lose, you got the Miami Dolphins as an organization to give Ryan Tannehill $95 million in the process. And how did that pan out? He's now in Tennessee. The man had no business being the head coach of the New York Jets. As far as I'm concerned, last night was the latest example of that. I don't give a damn what anybody says. The man didn't have a business being in that position. It was just embarrassing. Before the Jets had a chance to pass gas, they were down 14-0, turning over the ball in their first 2 possessions. Sam Darnold, I had it right, 11 for 32, 86 yards, 4 interceptions. A quarterback rating, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an exaggeration, a quarterback rating of 3.6. 3, not 33, not 23, not 43, 3, the number 3, 3.6. We ain't talking GPAs, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking quarterback rating. We ain't talking grade point averages. We're talking quarterback ratings. A 3.6 is beyond abysmal, embarrassing, horrendous, or whatever words you want to use. It's a damn shame. You threw this kid out there against Bill Belichick. You threw him to the wolves. What a disgraceful performance. And I don't blame Sam Darnold one bit. I blame Adam Gase. And I blame the Jets for hiring him. He is not the right man for the job. Period. Somebody needs to say it. Somebody needs to say it. He is not the right man for the Jets job. Everybody wondering whether or not he's going to be one and done. What the hell is there to wonder about? What is there to wonder about? Why did he deserve the job in the first place? And speaking of guys, listen, I'm not too far of a feeling that way about Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur came to the New York Giants job with a 10-23 record. Who gets a job in the media capital world in New York City with a 10-23 head coaching record? You see why people get upset? Ladies and gentlemen, if Pat Shurmur deserves a job and Adam Gase looks the part, why don't you just go ahead and give a job to Hugh Jackson? I know he went 0-16. I know he was 1-31 in his first 2 years in Cleveland. I get that. But guess what? He didn't have Baker Mayfield. He didn't have Odell Beckham Jr. He didn't have Jarvis Landry. He didn't have Njoku. He didn't have Nick Chubb coming out of the backfield with Kareem Hunt scheduled to be available after an 8-game suspension because he's on the commissioner list after getting caught kicking a woman on camera. Now, he might have had a couple of those dudes, but he didn't have all of those dudes. So if Hugh Jackson didn't have all of those dudes, and his record obviously shows that he wasn't great, if these other guys can get jobs, how come he can't? I'm not advocating for Hugh Jackson to get a job. Please don't get it confused. What I'm doing is making the point that it just seems to be that second opportunities are given to below average individuals who look the part, while others don't get those opportunities. I recall walking into this season, and there was actually a discussion as to whether or not Mike Tomlin deserved to keep his job as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The man has only won more than 64% of his games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been to about 3 or 4 AFC championship games. He's won more games during the regular season than everybody outside of Bill Belichick. He's been to more Super Bowls than Sean Payton. He's won as many Super Bowls as Sean Payton. He's been in the playoffs more than Sean Payton. But we talked about getting rid of Mike Tomlin, but we raved about Sean Payton like he was the second coming of Lombardi if it weren't for Belichick. You see the double standard? Did you see it? Is it clear? These are the kind of things that rake my last damn nerves. I don't like it one bit. This is New York City. This is the Mecca. And we got a coach. Think about this for a second here. All these great coaches that exist in the NFL. Bill Belichick, Sean Payton, Mike Tomlin, hell, Frank Wright, Andy Reid. I mean, the Golden Boys like the Kyle Shanahans or even the Matt LaFleurs. We got all these people out here. Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. Pete Carroll in Seattle. We got all these coaches out here. And the media capital of the world has Adam Gase and Pat Shurmur. And you wonder why New Yorkers are depressed. Do y'all realize that what this city continuously gives us as a football product? As New Yorkers, folks have nothing to look forward to during the holiday season but family and bright lights. That's it. Family and bright lights. Obviously, gifts and all of that other stuff and Thanksgiving meals and all of that stuff, that falls under the category of family. Family and the bright lights of Broadway, New York City. The congestion, the crowds, financial district and beyond, everybody stirring the pot a little bit, all of that stuff. Why? Because you're excited about exchanging Christmas gifts and enjoying the holidays and all that stuff. There's nothing sports related that you have to look forward to. The Knicks are a foregone conclusion. You know what's going to happen to them. You expect them to be irrelevant by February. The Brooklyn Nets are relevant now, but you know they ain't going but so far unless KD comes back. Okay? The Yankees done let us down because Aroldis Chapman made a career throwing heat and fire at 100 miles per hour, but then decides to go up against Altuve, one of the best hitters, particularly one of the best clutch players in baseball, and get cute and throw an 87-mile-per-hour slider. You got some dude named Van Wagenen as your GM in Queens with the Mets. And they teased us by giving us some great, great baseball for a month before they nosedived. It's only a select few people that give a damn about the Rangers or the Islanders. I mean, you just can't make this up. Everywhere you turn, it's mediocrity. Raking through the city of New York like a damn virus. And oh, by the way, during football season, they don't even play in a city. They're in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So it's bad enough that they stink, but they ask you to go through the tunnels to get to them to watch them stink. So not only do you have to pay a toll, but you got to get stuck in traffic. Most cities don't require that. They don't charge you a toll. They don't sit up there and say, you know what? We need you to pay $13 to $15 just to get through the tolls to get to us. New York does that. New Yorkers deserve so much better than this. We really do. But the beauty of New Yorkers is that, you know what? Most folks travel. Which gives me the right transition to what I'm about to bring up because I've traveled. I'm not in New York right now. I'm in L.A. I'm in L.A. And this is what it's all about right here, baby. The NBA season officially arrives tonight. Now, there's a few hours before the game, before the L.A. game, where the reigning champion Toronto Raptors, without Kawhi Leonard, go up against whoever they're holding up the hell against. I guess it's the Pelicans, without Zion Williamson. And that's a different subject for later on in the show about his future. But to me, this is the place to be. Because the two title contenders for this season reside in this town. It's the Lakers versus the Clippers. Now, that doesn't mean they can't get knocked off. Steve Kerr told the media Klay Thompson's likely going to miss the rest of the whole season because of his ACL tear. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. I believe that's just Steve Kerr not wanting to answer questions every day about Klay Thompson. I think sometime in February or March when Klay Thompson looked like he's ready, because Steve Kerr will bring up the subject then, but until that moment, he's going to take the mentality that Klay Thompson is out. But I think when you look at Portland, when you look at Utah, when you look at Denver, when you look at Houston, let me tell you something. You got folks that can knock off these LA teams. So that's 6 right there. We didn't even bring up San Antonio. We didn't bring up Oklahoma City. And maybe there's a reason for that because they'll just make it to the playoffs and go home in the first round. But right now, I would say that you legitimately have 8 to 9 title contenders with the Clippers and the Lakers leading the way. Now, let me be very, very clear. The Clippers have a better team. Doc Rivers is an exceptional coach. He's got Ty Lue on his bench now. Lawrence Frank is upstairs as the president of basketball operations. Steve Ballmer is the billionaire. Jerry West is the consultant extraordinaire, guru extraordinaire. The Clippers are something special. Paul George had shoulder surgery. He's expected to miss the first couple of weeks, but by the end of November, if not earlier, he should be back. Kawhi Leonard, ready to go. Doc Rivers says there will not be any load management. You got Patrick Beverley. I mean, I like what I'm seeing. You got Lou Williams. You got Montrezl Harrell. I like what I'm seeing from the Clippers. I think they're too deep at every position. This kid, Landry Shamet, I mean, let me tell you something. The brother can shoot now. A matter of fact, the Sixers would have been well if they were able to hold on to him, especially since you lost J.J. Redick. But I'll get to the Eastern Conference in just a little while. Right now, when we look at the Los Angeles Lakers, it's very, very simple to me, ladies and gentlemen. The Clippers can have the best team. But when you got 2 monsters that you have to contend with and you have to stop on the basketball floor, how are you going to stop them? We saw Patrick Beverley give Kevin Durant a couple of headaches for the first couple of games until Kevin Durant said, y'all know who I am. You know who I am. And then went about the business of reminding everybody there's levels to this. But let me tell you something. Patrick Beverley can't guard LeBron James. LeBron James is 260 pounds. And whether it's Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, LeBron's going to be a load to deal with. And then, by the way, who you think going to deal with Anthony Davis? You going to try to tell me Montrezl Harrell can deal with Anthony Davis? Is that where we going to go? I mean, I expect somebody like Champ to go there. You never know with him. I mean, he's crazy. In Champ's world, Ernest's world, I mean, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Okay? This brother right here doesn't even have LeBron in his top 10. I'll call him Champ, though. I won't mess with his name anymore. Just say I'll call him Mr. Hemingway. How about that? How about that? We'll do that. We'll call him Mr. Hemingway. We'll go that route, okay? But here's my deal. How is it that you don't have LeBron in your top 10 all time? I wonder about him. I got LeBron James on the Mount Rushmore. He don't even have him in the top 10. Something wrong with this brother. Something wrong with him, but that's okay. He'll get his moment to explain. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. In the end, LeBron James, even though he's turning 35, the fact that he didn't go play to June, that he got bounced out in the regular season, that he was off for the first time in 9 years since April. I think he's hungry. I think he's healthy. And the fact that you have that coupled with the acquisition of Anthony Davis, I think that's going to bode very, very well for LeBron James and the Lakers. And I'm not telling you that the Clippers are going to have a worse record than the Lakers in the regular season or anything like that. I'm saying the goal for the Lakers should be to finish as a top 2 or 3 seed and for LeBron and AD to be healthy. If those two things happen, everything changes. And let's see what Kawhi Leonard is going to be worth then. I think Kawhi Leonard is a monster. I think he's one of the best players in the game. I think he's a worthy NBA Finals MVP and all of that stuff. But we all know if Kevin Durant were healthy, Toronto might have gotten swept. We all know that if Kevin Durant were healthy, they damn sure wouldn't have lost that series, Golden State that is, to Toronto. We all know that even if Kevin Durant was hurt, if Klay Thompson was healthy and didn't get hurt in game 2 and didn't have to miss a game and wasn't hobbled the entire series, we all know that Golden State could have beaten Toronto in 6 games. So for me, when I think about Kawhi Leonard, even though I got mad respect and love and appreciation for him, knowing and recognizing the superstar that he is, what I would say to you is he still got some things to prove. We talk about Kawhi Leonard like he's been averaging 25 a game, and he was this offensive juggernaut for the last 6-7 years. It's really only been 2 years. Remember, the season before last, he only played 9 games. He got injured, according to him, misdiagnosed. As a result, he's in San Antonio, and things weren't what they should have been. We heard all of that. But the season before that and last season are the 2 years that Kawhi Leonard was an offensive force. Prior to that, you didn't feel inclined to give Kawhi Leonard the ball and say, take us there. He didn't have that kind of game. So I think people are really, really blowing him up. Let's find out now. And as great as Kawhi Leonard is, I got news for you. He can't guard Anthony Davis. What's he going to do? You really think he could guard Anthony Davis? He cannot. Not down low. Can't happen. Now, Montrezl Harrell will probably pick up that assignment. And by the way, let's understand what we're saying here. Let me tell you something right now. Even if Kawhi Leonard was guarding LeBron, understand something. LeBron might not shoot 49% or 51% from the field. He's going to still average 27. It's a lot to get into, y'all. And I'm just the man to do it. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. To your calls in just a moment. Right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. Don't you dare touch that dial. By the way, do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have antacids stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. That's Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day will last a full 24 hours.